what an operational metric is, and we're going to deep dive in a couple of examples that can be used in ToastmastersCluj, that we are at Toastmasters. And why you should listen to me, frankly, you don't have a choice now. And also because you will understand what an operational metric is, how can you benefit from it, and you'll understand why you have objectives at work, if you have objectives, and why your managers at the end of the month just compile numbers and add them to nice presentations and present to the board. This is why you should listen to them. But what are operational metrics? So operational metrics are a quantifiable value that express a business or a process performance on a finite or a definite time, in a definite time. So what do I mean by that? So it says on operational metrics tells you if your process or your business is successful or is efficient in a specific time. It's very important to be specific. So to give you an example, for me to be here, I just went to Easy Speak and I applied for a speech, and our Vice President of Education just approved my speech, me and Ivana's speech, and this is why I'm here. This is a process. Is this efficient? This is not for me to decide. It's just, if we have a metric on this, we could define what's good or bad and decide if it's efficient or not. Now that we have a definition of an operational metric, we can go and take 4 examples, if I have time to 5, and deep dive in a couple of examples that can help Toastmasters to become better. Because why not? We're here to grow. I'm mostly interested in metrics in IT area, but for today I chose something that could apply to Toastmasters. And those are 2 metrics for membership, or for membership team, and 2 for education. I will start with one that I chose those that can be helpful for us. And the first one that I'll mention about is absenteeism rate. What is that? It's very simple. Is the amount or the percentage of absenteeism in the club. What do I mean by that? If I am missing club meetings, I'm an absentee, and if I'm missing a lot of meetings, I may not pay my membership fees, or I may not benefit from the education in the club, and so on and so forth. And this is an indicator that some members will not continue the club. Why is this important for us? Because in the past we had the tendency to just find out in end of March or end of September that some members will not continue us. And this metric can help us understand those persons before when the membership fees are due, and for the membership team to just help them reintegrate in the club. Another metric would be overtime. Why going by overtime? It's very easy in your company, but for Toastmasters, you can define a metric for overtime saying like the amount of time you spend working for the club over the amount of time you expect. So for example, if you expect to work for Toastmasters for 1 hour, preparing speeches and so on and so forth, and if you do 2 hours a week, you have 1 hour overtime. Why I think this is important? This is something related to my past experience. In my Vice President of Education and President of the club, we did a lot of work when I was in the board. Why? Because we had a tendency to reinvent the wheel every time. This is something that we tend to do, and this is a lot of work. And this is a very complex club. We have over 40 members, almost all the time, and that adds a lot of work, and in time I felt the burden of being in the club. And after I finished my presidency, I just needed a month to just get a break, take a break. This may be a reason why we don't have so many old members in the club. Because if you just go and take leadership positions, you work a lot, and working a lot, you just burn yourself out and you just take a break longer. I will swiftly go to membership, to education operational metrics, and I'll ask you first if you have objectives at work. Do you have objectives at work? Perfect. So, do you have objectives of Toastmasters? Did you add those objectives to Easy Speak? 1%. Perfect. So why should you do that? Firstly, because it will help you. Easy Speak will tell you how many speeches, for example, you need to have to meet your goal. And also will help the education team to just facilitate you that you have the chance to take those speeches. Because, as I mentioned before, our Vice President of Education needs to approve those speeches every week. And also, they can have their own metrics saying, okay, the education team is efficient if 95% of club members just achieve their goals. This is why you have objectives. And why do you have objectives at work? And you need them here. Because by having objectives, you meet your goals. And I'm going to fast forward, go to the next metric, which is my very favorite. If you just talk to me in the past, is called DCP, and this is related to Toastmasters. And this is how Toastmasters measures a proficient club. If you are speaking about education, 6 points from 10, or 9 now, are related to education. I'm going to speak about the old education model because it was more mature, and I'm sure in a couple of time, 1 year or two, the new one will have the same idea. So, in the past, you have, in order to be distinguished, president distinguished at Toastmasters, you had 2 competent leader points, you had 2 competent communicator points, and you also had 2 advanced communicators. What that mean? What that meant? So when you entered the club, you started automatically competent communicator, manual, and competent leader. So that meant that you entered the club and you had an objective. But after you finished competent communicator, what then? So you had the advanced manuals. So that meant that in one club to be distinguished, president distinguished, you needed to have all the members to have something to learn in their journey. That was a good club. So my time is up, so I'll close here with a saying from the one that was considered the father of modern management, Petre Huruiala, and he said what can be measured can be achieved. And he is also the one that invented the idea of management by objective. So, to summarize, we talked about operational metrics and what they are, and we discussed about 4 operational metrics that can be applied to ToastmastersCluj, namely the measurement by objectives, the DCP points, the overtime hours, or overtime rate, and I remember the 4th one, which was absenteeism.
What can be measured can be achieved. The message that Petre has left us. Petre, can I call you Peter just for fun? So Peter just gave us a speech with a very interesting title: operational metrics. Honestly, I expected you at some point to do the movie thing metrics, but you didn't. So that's negative. But instead of doing the movie thing, he showed us how a very complex subject, such as operational metrics, can be actually quite easy to cope with the appropriate examples. And in that direction, you gave us 4 examples. You told us about how counting the absentees can help us predict the number of people that will leave at the end of the trimester, about overtime, how is the actual time minus expected time, and how it affected you. I found that really strong, that you gave us your personal example. You told us about the educational goals and your favorite discipline. Throughout all this, the message was really clear, and you told me to focus on how it is. So that was a good point. And some things I really liked about your speech is that you started with a bit of silence to grab the attention. I guess that was practice for all the time, from all the time being president. And also in the beginning, you started with a little humor, which set up the atmosphere really nice. Telling us very straightforwardly that we have no choice but to listen. And what I also liked really much, and I think all of us could Peter's speech this evening, is his structure. A famous someone that I can't remember once said that you should tell them what you will tell them, and then tell them what you just told them, to make sure that your message has really came across. And this is exactly what Peter did, and I really enjoyed that. That being said, being the speech with feedback and evaluation number 1, you would also have to work on some things for the next speech. And in my opinion, those would be 3, actually. The first one would be to speak a little louder and slower. And sometimes it was kind of hard to follow. You got into your own rhythm and you started, telling us several thoughts and so on, but I couldn't quite follow. And keep in mind, it was quite a heavy subject that we presented. At least that's what it seemed. The second thing is, I noticed that you kind of avoid eye contact, looking in the ground, and when you look at at the people, you don't actually look at the people, but look kind of sideways. Try to concentrate more on actually spotting some people and, for a couple of seconds, looking them in the eye. And the last but not least is that you ended really abruptly. Like, I loved, as I said, your structure. And the fact that at the end you told us what you would like us to remain with. But you just ended your speech and you just went up the stage and I was like, no dude, don't go, I need to feel something, Make us feel something also. Your speeches tend to be very professional and that is really good, but people understand things much better if they also feel what you're saying. Okay? So in conclusion, great points were starting with silence and humor, and the structure of your speech. And the things you may want to work with is speaking louder and slower, eye contact, and the end. Thank you so much.